Hey guys, it's Johnny from Johnny Go Vroom, and today we're diving into a topic that's been bubbling up in the EUC world. If you've been following the space, you've probably noticed something. More and more manufacturers are pushing this idea of performance or racing EUCs. And look, I get it. Racing is fun. It's thrilling. It grabs attention. But I think it might be a bit premature. So let's talk about that. Now, before we start, let's put things into perspective, okay? You know how car brands have these special performance divisions, right? Honda, for instance, has Mugen. Nissan has Nismo. And Toyota's got TRD. These companies have been around for decades, some pushing close to a century in development. Before they launched their performance sub-brands, these performance divisions were born from years, sometimes even generations of refining their core product line. The same thing happens with motorcycles, skateboards, and even bicycles. Okay, so for instance, bicycles. The commuter segment has been the bread and butter of the bicycle industry for years. We're talking about practicality, everyday use, mass adoption. But of course, the performance sector exists too, right? Like road racing, mountain bikes, you name it. And while performance is exciting, it does not at all drive the same volume or reliability expectations as a solid commuter bike. Look at the EUC space. Most of the time, people are commuting on these things. They're not just racing around in circles, okay? They're getting to work, hitting the grocery store, or just having a casual ride. But here's the thing. We're seeing a rush to build racing EUCs, performance EUCs, without first getting the fundamentals right. So here's my concern, okay? The EUC space is still refining its baseline. Like, let's be honest, there's still a lot of inconsistency. Some EUCs are great for the price, but reliability? Not always. We're still figuring out battery life, stability at higher speeds, and just general durability for long-term use, okay? Yet, manufacturers are pushing out these quote-unquote like performance models that frankly aren't always refined enough to be a true racer's machine, okay? You can't be in racing mode when the product itself is still shaky, okay? Imagine getting a car out on the track that's still prone to engine failure, that still doesn't have a solid braking system. It's not safe. It's not reliable, and it's just not sustainable. And let's not even talk about the sales problems that come with this, okay? If you're focusing too much on performance, you might actually be limiting your market. The core audience of for EUCs right now, commuters. People who want a reliable daily ride. But when you start pushing high-performance models, you're narrowing that appeal. You're suddenly alienating potential customers who just want a solid, safe, and long-lasting product. Racing-focused EUCs are a niche. And while niche products can be fun, they don't exactly build the foundation you need to grow the market, okay? Look at the bicycle industry. The commuter market drives the bulk of sales, while the performance sector, road races, mountain bikes, competitive cycling, it has a much smaller slice of the pie. Racing is flashy, but it doesn't guarantee long-term success. If the product doesn't meet the basic needs of most consumers, sales will stagnate, and the industry could struggle to grow. Okay, so here's another thing. Introducing racing into the conversation too soon can actually be a problem for manufacturers. Have you noticed the uptick in legal concerns around personal transportation? Like, more and more cities are tightening regulations on electric vehicles, guys, including EUCs. Speed limits, safety standards, and insurance requirements are all becoming hotter topics, whether you like it or not. So when you start marketing EUCs as race-ready, you might just be drawing unwanted attention to the fact that these machines might not meet the standard cities want. So it's only a matter of time before it becomes an issue for companies actually even selling these products. Look at the UK, for instance. I mean, it's not nearly as much of a sales volume there as it used to be. You know, like, we got to tighten up. Here's what I think. Racing can be part of the future of EUCs. And it's so fun to do with friends, like here and there, like on a trail. It's a lot of fun. But we've got to get to the basics first. We've got to get the basics down. Let's make sure we're selling reliable, well-built products that work for the average person. Because that's who's going to buy them en masse. Once the reliability is there and the product can withstand some real-world wear and tear, then we can start talking about the track. Again, the bulk of the market is commuters. People who want an EUC that they can rely on for daily use. If manufacturers keep pushing performance models without the foundation to back it up, they're not just risking customer dissatisfaction, they're risking the entire market's credibility. So, yeah, while I do understand the thrill of racing, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Seriously. If the industry spends a bit more time on improving core stability, reliability, then sure. Well, let's talk about making these things race ready. Let's do it. Let's make sure they're built to last before we push them to their limit. Again, let's make sure they're built to last before we push them to the limit. In the end, the core lesson is this. You cannot build a performance brand if the product isn't ready for prime time. Reliability should be the baseline. And once we have that solid foundation, we can start talking about racing. Until then, let's focus on the everyday ride, right? And trust me, the racing stuff, it will follow naturally. It always does. All right, that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay? Am I just being a downer, or do you agree? And remember, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Johnny Go Vroom.